Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Joan here, and today's video is going to be about Super 8. And I know this has been a very highly requested video on my channel just because I've been posting a lot of work that has been shot on Super 8. But yeah, finally got to it and created a video, and hopefully I get to answer all the questions that you have about it. And if not, you can always comment below and I'll try my best to answer it. So here it goes. So the way how I'm going to go about it is pretty much going to explain the technical parts first and then explaining my whole story behind why I got the camera and my experience with it, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so I have only one Super 8 camera, which is the Canon Zoom 518. This is how it looks like, and pretty much it has one lens on it, can't pretty much change it, and it only literally has a zoom option, and you focus here on the front and you look through the viewfinder like that, just going super basic here. And when you would film, you have to make sure that this is the button here that starts the camera. So there's three options. There's an R. I honestly don't know what R stands for, but R mode literally lets you shoot. Then you have just a regular dot here in the middle, and then you have the L, which is lock. And you have this button here which lets you do stop motion, where you could just capture stills or photo like one at a time instead of firing straight ahead. And this compartment here, when you slide off the button, the door unlocks, and then you have the cartridge and you would just place it inside there and then just close it, and then you're just ready to fire right away. And for the batteries, this takes 3 AA batteries. Every Super 8 camera is different. So you would unscrew this in the back for this top part to come off. And I use rechargeable AA batteries, but that's up to you. And so you see 2 here, but there's a third one inside. And you can also fix the diopter, like the viewfinder, and how to set it to your vision. There's like a thing here where you could like fix it and adjust to your vision. And then you just place it back, screw this back, and then you're good to go. On this side of the camera, you have the duration. It tells you with a line how much film you've shot so far or haven't shot, and then when it reaches to the end, that pretty much means that it's finished. And then over here it checks your battery, and the button here, there's a red button. When you press it, it will determine and let you know if your battery is still good or not. And what else can I tell you? So you could either fire like this, like what you normally see if you watch other Super 8 videos, or you could, like I say, you could press this button right here, whichever is your preference, but obviously most people do it like that. And this is the handle that collapses, and yeah, there you go. This strap gets in the way sometimes. So you could either plop this, there's a placement for the tripod, you could do that and then swing it like that, or as many people do the held way of holding it and firing it like that. So that's pretty much the logistics of the camera. There's no ISO or ASA to really worry about that you have to set on the camera. There's no f-stop. It's pretty kind of scary a bit for me because I'm so used to like having a lot of control, but I guess that's where 16mm and any other type of camera or there could be Super 8 cameras that have those options, but this one is like super simple and basic. You literally, like I said, just place the cartridge inside, and I guess you just have to know your information in regards to the film stock that you're using. And so if you have, let's say I've been using Ektachrome 100, I would just, be concerned and think about the daylight or the lighting situation and how much is going to be blown out or whatever, because this is auto exposing it and figuring it out on its own. And how it's figuring that out, there's probably a light meter, I'm not definitely sure, but so far I just kind of been winging it. The best advice I could say is if you have this camera, I would just shoot it on a day that it's not too sunny and not too dark, unless you can manipulate the light, and then you can get good perfect exposure. And what else can I say? I've only shot color film on this, so I don't really have that much experience black and white, whereas with 16mm I've shot both. And if you ask me as a beginner, where should you start? I started with 16mm first, and that was literally by accident because I didn't even know I was ever going to get into film, motion picture, video, anything. And then so I learned 16mm first before Super 8, but I would suggest getting into Super 8 first just because it's much easier, and also it's less expensive, but still expensive compared to 16 or 35 and what have you. This camera, I was like looking it up and I got an accessory. So I got a telephoto lens that you could just attach to here. It gets a bit more heavier. However, when I have the telephoto lens, I get to be even more far away from the subject and kind of feel like a fly in a wall and not really be in their face, and I could capture them without them knowing, and it gets a bit more casual and natural, their reaction to things, because they don't see me as in their face and I get to be far away. So telephoto means it's way more zoomed, and yeah, and you could easily pop it off. And that's pretty much the spiel about this. And what else can I say? So things that you need to know when it comes to Super 8. First is, where should you go get it and why and all these things. I guess for me, I got it on eBay, but I definitely did my research. I looked at a lot of other YouTubers who posted about Super 8, read a bunch of articles, and then when I thought I figured out which camera I wanted, then I went on eBay as every other person when they see a camera that they liked, and then looked it up. And I was fortunate enough to find a camera that I wanted, and it was being sold based on the same location where I live. And then I got it in time last year during the protests, and that was my purpose of why I wanted to get a Super 8 camera, because I wanted something light and portable. I didn't own my Bolex at the time, and I just wanted to capture history with film, but just not photo wise or stills. I wanted to do it video wise. Then I got this camera, and then afterwards I just pretty much played around, tried other film stocks, and now every time I travel somewhere, even though that's kind of hard to say, but when I do travel, I bring my Super 8, and instead of just taking photos, I have also like this side small video that I also try to incorporate in my vacation or side trip project, and this has just been very helpful. Another thing that is very important is that film is not cheap. If people are already complaining about how expensive film is getting photography wise, it's even more expensive video wise. And so if you're not in the realm of wanting to spend at least probably $30 just for film, and that's one roll, and one roll can last, depending on what type of camera you have, it could either be like around 2 minutes to 3 minutes, one roll, 100-foot roll. And that's already a lot for just film, and we're not even talking about what happens afterwards. So it's understandable why a lot of people are turned off of wanting to capture videos on film. And then so after you buy the film stock and you film your video, which however you like. I was gonna try my best to explain this without showing a cartridge, but I think it's much easier visually showing you guys what I'm talking about. So the Super 8 camera comes in these square cartridges like this. This is an expired Tri-X film, so if you're wondering about the packaging. And so you can even tell I haven't even opened this yet. So as a female, having nails like this makes it more difficult. I'm trying to figure out. What I was gonna say is that the good thing about Super 8 is that you can remove the cartridge and then place a different one, and whatever shot this film is exposed, well, obviously you'll miss out and not be able to use, but you can continue on and shoot again. But with 16, you can't do this. You can't just put the film back in and continue filming. You have to literally finish the roll, which pretty much sucks a bit. But with this, that's just like super convenient that you could plop the cartridge, film, take it out if you're not finished with this and you want to do a different film stock, and then put it back. And you just gotta make sure that this cartridge is refrigerated, because if you leave it in any place that has heat or sun, stuff like that, you could easily tamper the film, and whatever you shot is just not disposable. And so after that, once you finish filming and doing what you do with your Super 8 film, then pretty much you go to a post house. Post house is just the same equivalent to going to a film lab when you drop off your film to get processed and if you get it scanned and what have you. And the difference is that with a post house, you would bring your film. I would always bring it in a Ziploc bag, especially with what's going on in the world with COVID. I always put my film all in a Ziploc bag, including with external hard drive. So the post house always asks for external hard drive, and usually it has to be 500 gigs and up to like a terabyte or 2, depends on how much film you're giving them, because these little flash drives that you think that you usually use at school or just to like save some stuff won't do. They're gonna request for an external hard drive. So usually I give them an external hard drive that can easily like be used to put footage on. I don't have anything on there. It's literally just when I use it for transferring my files and stuff like that to the post house. It's really seriously dedicated to that. I don't want someone working there looking at other stuff that I'm using and saving stuff in. So it's literally just for that purpose. And then they give you usually a form to fill out, which this is where people get super intimidated, because if the person there is not very helpful or nice for whatever reason, you can easily get turned off and just freak out and leave. It's the same concept of like filling out a patient form. That's the best way I could describe it. So they would ask all the information about yourself, and then they're gonna ask you what type of film you're dropping off, and then they ask you what type of file you want. So it goes from 1080 2K to 4K, depending on how nice of a quality video you want to get it scanned. And then afterwards, what else do they ask you? They just ask pretty much like how you want it to be also framed, meaning like, do you want it full frame or do you want it cropped? And they ask you the aspect ratio, meaning like it could be from 16:9, like the regular rectangle that you're used to seeing, or the old school way when you see TVs back in the day and they are squared, sort of. So you have to like know all of this info beforehand. And luckily the post house that I go to, it's like once you're a customer there, they kind of have a file for you, so then they know what settings you want, and you don't have to keep doing it over and over, filling out this form, unless you want to do something different. But that is something that you have to keep in mind. You need to know what type of file or video quality you want for your Super 8, and also you need to have an external hard drive, even if you ship it out. When I shipped out my film to Pro 8, which is in California, I literally had to also give them an external hard drive just because, I don't know, a part of me didn't want to WeTransfer it or send it through email because that's a heavy file. And also they charge sometimes by the gig. So let's say you have 74 gigs, which happened to me, then I would have to pay $74 more, or I could just give them an external hard drive and just like reuse that over and over again. You have to just think logically. Or they try to also offer like, hey, you could buy a hard drive from us and then you have to pay another expense. So like I said, best way is to get an external hard drive designated for video if you're going to go to that route and invest and get into all of this whole thing. And then afterwards, when you get the film back, video digitally transferred, that's what I'm talking about, because unless you have a projector and you plan to show your video on a projector with your friends and family, you're gonna obviously probably want to put it on YouTube or Vimeo or whatever platform, Instagram. And so with that, they give you a log format and they give you an HD color version of it. Usually it's 1920 by 1080. And so if you don't know how to color grade, that becomes a whole nother thing. And so once you get the log format version, which is going to be, let's just use the example, you requested a 4K video. That 4K video is going to be in log, it'll be in raw. And a lot of people who don't know anything about video start freaking out too, because they're like, what is this? Like, why is my video all gray? I used this like Ektachrome film stock, which I thought my video was gonna be super saturated and colorful, and now it's freaking gray. So think of it in photo. Photo you shoot in raw, not that it turns gray, but you have more options when you shoot something in raw, right? And then you could like manipulate it however you like. So same thing as in video, you shoot it in raw or log, and then it's pretty much flat. And then you're supposed to bring it up in some video for like program, like if you use Premiere or DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut. There's so many freaking programs depending on your preference. And that's where you can bring up the colors back. And that's how it pretty much works. You get the format that you want, let's say 4K, will be in a raw format, and then the HD quality, what the post house thinks the colors that you want from that film, they give you an HD quality, just in case like you just wanted to see a quick view of it, or you are lazy, I don't know, like why would you pay for 4K and then you're gonna use the HD quality color version that they gave you? I don't know. So that's also a thing. So depending on if you get 1080, 2K, 4K, there's even 5K now, the price goes up. And so, like I said, first you're gonna get a camera, then you're gonna get a film, and then you're gonna get it developed and processed and scanned. So all of that, it's pretty expensive, and this is why people are turned off in doing the whole thing. And I'm not trying to sway you in a way where like to not do it. I'm just saying like this is the practical conversation that I hope people would say when you want to get into doing stuff like this. It's not cheap and it's something that you definitely have to invest in. And so for me, why I do it is just because I find a lot of fulfillment taking photos in film, and then I even found a bigger love in capturing videos on film. And when it comes to the expenses, I always use this as the best analogy in a sense, or example, is the fact that people invest in things that they love, correct, in a sense. And so if you enjoy eating at this popular, I don't know, restaurant or what have you, and that's where you like want to spend your money, then by all means go for it. For me, I find a lot of happiness in shooting film. And so I invest a lot of money that I earn from all my different projects to these kind of things, because this is what makes me feel good. And at the same time, I try my best to get my clients to also hire me to shoot and film, whether it's photo or video, and that's even a better situation because I don't really have to worry about expenses like that. But just altogether, if you want to just do it for fun, I would suggest trying to first borrow a Super 8 camera from a friend. And if you can't do that, literally get the cheapest Super 8 camera that you could probably get on eBay, and then buy a film roll and just, shoot whatever you can and then see how it goes. But I think if you're not going to do it in the long run, it'll be a lot to just kind of take in. But if you enjoy it like me and then you end up wanting to do more, maybe save up for a budget so you could shoot film and process it and scan it and start making little movies here and there. But that's just like the real talk, and that's why I think I've been holding off in making a video about this, because I didn't want to just be like, hey, this is the freaking Super 8 camera and like this is how it is. I also want to be real with you guys and explain what my experience were with having this camera. And also, because Super 8 cameras are just as every other film camera, they're just all kind of slowly being non-existent and getting more and more expensive. Like this camera, I brought this to California and the handle literally broke. Like, I was super upset because I was getting so into it, and then literally I was like, there is no way I'm gonna hold this camera now for the rest of the time of use just like this. Like, this sucks. And I didn't have a tripod on my trip, and I didn't want to go buy one just because this happened. So luckily I got this repaired, and now I'm back to using the handle like this and being able to shoot handheld. But it really goes a long way when you don't have a handle. So very thankful I got to repair it. But like I said, these cameras, who knows how long they're going to last, or if Kodak will finally create the Super 8 camera that they've always been talking about, which I've been waiting for. So anyways, like I said, that is my whole explanation about Super 8. If you guys have any other questions, please comment below. This is the only Super 8 camera that I have, so I don't know necessarily every other Super 8 camera, but I'll try my best to answer it. And if you have any Super 8 short films that you'd like to share, I'd always am down to check them out. And just, I don't know, I'm a big fan when it comes to people who take the chance and shoot and film on film. Okay, there you go. So thank you again for watching. Stay tuned to the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all that jazz. Okay, sayonara. It's the end of the video, so don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, it will help me in the long run. Okay, bye.